Artist GW Harper, known to her Serenbe neighbors as Gigi Wilborn, is represented by a number of Atlanta galleries, including Dogwood, Kuali Studio, the Chatt Hills Gallery, and is also a former Goat Farm Art Center studio member. In this episode, Gigi tells us how her painting career was jump-started by her husband's gift of a weekend away, what it was like to be a nurse during the pandemic, and how she's now combining her passions for healthcare and art.
For years, I forgot. And it wasn't until 3 years ago where my husband knew I was a creative and surprised me with a starter art set with an easel and everything. And he sent me to a hotel without the girls for 2 nights and said, I want you to paint your heart away. I've been painting ever since.
Hi, everybody. Well, I want to welcome everybody back to Serenbe Stories. Today, we have artist and resident Gigi Wilborn, and we've got Steve Nygren. Hi, guys.
Greetings, Monica. Glad to be here. Hi, Steve.
Monica. And hi, Gigi.
I am super excited. I'm a huge fan of all of your work. I'm also art history major. So it's really in my sort of DNA, and I get really excited. It's sort of a side beloved area of my life. So want to sort of dig into your art, how you kind of came to it, what's going on with it. But our first question we always ask everybody is, how did you discover Serenbe and find yourself here?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's that serendipitous question.
Okay.
So actually, believe it or not, years ago, I had a coworker who, ironically, my maiden name is Anderson. We had the same initials. We were both G. Anderson. I worked with her. She actually moved down somewhere, I think off Rico Road, and she posted about the Serenbe Inn. This was years ago. I actually saved that to my home screen. And there it stayed for years. I've gone through so many phones. And for whatever reason, when I'm cleaning off my phone, I always get to that app. And I'm like, I can't take it off. That just continued for years and years. I had another coworker tell me about bamboo juice. Just never made it down. Just randomly was down here. Actually, I was at a wedding at Fox Hall. Discovered Fox Hall. Moved from Fairburn, so I wasn't too far.
Okay. And
I went down one day. They weren't open for brunch, so this is how I discovered the Heel. So that is how I discovered Serenbe and just kept coming. I was in love with the place. I feel like it's a place where the land speaks to you. And it's one of those things I tell people, it's like either you get it or you don't. It's black and white. There's no gray in between. You either call or you don't. Simple as that. So here I am.
Yeah, you do hear that a lot, that even between couples or partners, there's sometimes a push-pull of one of them is just all in and the other one's like, I'm not so sure.
Right.
And the fun things, a lot of times it switches which one then loves it the most.
Right. I have been very lucky. My husband Reggie has been all in, just 100%. This is not some crazy idea Gigi has to move down here. We had honestly no intentions of moving. And my art brought me here, and we literally no intentions. And we looked at each other and we were like, let's do it.
I love it.
By 2 months later, we were here, and then the pandemic hit. So it's
right. We've had so many people move here during the pandemic. And so now, how, I guess a really interesting question is how was it? And then how is it now that everybody's getting vaccinated and people the social life is on steroids right now? Tell me kind of what's happened since you've been here.
Well, I tell people I've never really truly experienced Serenbe yet because of the pandemic. I think we came in on my daughter's birthday, April 3rd, and everything completely shut down.
Wow.
There was no moving. We couldn't find moving truck, anything. It was shut down. We got our stuff in just in time. So now it's this, I feel like it's almost like we've moved again. It's like this new neighborhood. It's like we've been here a year, but you weren't in that neighborhood. You're in the new Serenbe neighborhood now. So it's this whole summer, it's I'm so excited. It's now I get to see what Serenbe is about, being able to go to people's houses. And it's one of those things you always think, and this is the one thing I first moved here, when does the novelty wear off? I'm just okay, we're gonna move again. I love this place. But yeah, it's a new experience because you're able to like meet and greet your neighbors. You know, one of the first things right before the pandemic happened, when I came over for a meeting at the gallery, one of the things I noticed, and I will always hang on to that, I saw a cute little couple. The guy was holding a dish and the woman was holding a flower pot, cute little flower. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to a dinner tonight. I can't wait to do that. And it's like, never mind. So I'm waiting to be that couple with the dish and the flower going to a dinner.
Well, and we're recording this right before 4th of July weekend, which for those of you that haven't been down or haven't lived here, is just like a crazy, fun, fabulous, just outdoors, you know, resident potlucks. You know, there's a really amazing parade that, you know, is open to the public. It's just a lot of fun. So I think it'll be like a little coming out party for everybody.
Yes, I'm excited. And ironically, just yesterday, my daughter was riding in the car and she randomly says, I never want to leave Serenbe, Mommy, Dad.
Well, we can make that happen.
Okay.
She can stay. She can stay.
Okay.
So
We're in love with
and
it.
share for the listeners, how old?
My oldest, Audrey is 8 and my youngest Reagan is 6. And they will be actually starting acting in the fall. So it's just kind of like, they're super excited. They're just like, anytime Reggie and I go somewhere, the first question is it in or out of Serenbe?
Yeah.
This is a whole world to them. It's like, are you leaving or is it in or out of Serenbe?
Yeah.
So, no, they're in love with the place.
It's free range kids. That's one of the biggest things we have.
Exactly. And it's built their confidence as kids, their independence. It's just, it's amazing. I'm watching them grow and being responsible, you know, and just being able, it's huge. I'm just in love with Serenbe.
Oh, we love to hear that.
In fact, someone said they thought a university should study the Serenbe kids and study them for the next 40 years to see the difference.
That would be interesting. Oh my God, that would be interesting.
It would be really interesting. So Gigi, tell us how you got into art, because you are by day a nurse.
Yes.
And so tell us
a lot of things by day.
Tell us your trajectory.
Oh wow, that's an interesting story. So I basically I've been a creative my entire life, basically. When I decided to go to college, my mom basically told me, I'll send you to school to be one thing and one thing only. That's to be a nurse. Anything else you can finance yourself. Didn't really have too much of a choice there.
Yep.
She wanted to be, my mom is actually great creative herself, great with interior design. However, being born in 1943 in the South as a Black woman, you don't exactly get a chance to be an interior designer in the South. So her brothers who were older than her sent her to school to be a teacher. She pretty much followed the same thing, sent me to school to be a nurse. She told me I had to put away my childish things. And so I forgot.
Oh.
For years, I forgot. And it wasn't until 3 years ago where my husband knew I was a creative and surprised me with a starter art set with an easel and everything. And he sent me to a hotel without the girls for 2 nights and said, I want you to paint your heart away. I've been painting ever since.
Oh my God, I just got chills.
Yeah. So initially I bought had a house built in 2005. Of course, being that age, I can't afford real art. So I remember not even having an easel. I remember very vividly being on my foyer with puppy pads. I put my canvas on the puppy pads and I painted these 2 pieces of work just to have something up in the house. 12 years later, we sold the house. As I'm getting rid of stuff like, we just need to decompress, people are like, oh my God, would you sell that artwork? I'm like, what? What? You would buy that? What? So I ended up selling it. And ironically, years later, the person that bought actually my very, very first piece fell on hard times. And I told him, I was like, I'll buy that piece back from you for like triple the amount you paid for it.
Oh.
He told me, I will never sell it to you. I will never sell it to you.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I treasure, I will never sell it. And that just did something to me. And I've literally been painting ever since. Our routine was we would put the girls to sleep. And I wanted to make sure I got to that point in my life where I wanted to do something different. I was like, I can't keep making excuses, waiting for this, waiting for the perfect studio, waiting for X, Y, and Z. It's not going to come. You have to live your life in that, seize that moment, make it work. I started painting in my kitchen. So my husband would cook and I would paint every single night.
Oh.
And that's how I have all the artwork. It was just a release. And I just started just getting into this art world and just loving it and just coming up with new ideas and allowing my art to, you know, expand. And actually my art brought me here. I actually was looking, after eating at the Hill, of course, I walked down to the gallery and I remember, Judy Walker and Melinda Arnold were in there. And I just casually asked them, how do you procure your artists? And they were saying, you know, we're a co-op. We're not really looking for any artists right now. And they asked, you know, was I an artist? Looked at my artwork while I was standing there. And I guess we started following each other on social media. And probably a year later, was eating at the Hill again. Randomly, Judy comes out and she stops me. He's like, Gigi, I've been meaning to get in contact with you. We want you to join the gallery. And literally I was like, let's move. No intentions of moving. Had none.
Right.
Let's move. Let's go.
Yeah.
We initially was going to build a house, huge house that we realized now we don't need all that space. You know, and it just wouldn't materialize. And we came here and it's like, this is ironically, Reggie just told me yesterday, he's like, this is the best decision you've made.
I love that.
The absolute best decision that you have made. He's like, I'm glad I went with you on this one.
Well, I'm blown away that it's only been 3 years. I mean, I know that you had done that original piece early on,
right?
But your work is so layered and thoughtful and infused with emotion and ideas. Can you tell us a little bit about, I mean, really, Gigi, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, and I'll tell our listeners, we're one of Gigi's pieces is going to go up publicly once we get it printed in the coming weeks. So everybody will be able to come see it. But you do sort of abstract images, acrylics, watercolors, mixed media, layered pieces. Can you tell us sort of like where that started?
Yes.
You know, just sort of the medium. And then I'd love to talk about like kind of how the pieces, you know, sort of speak to current events a little bit.
So basically I started with abstract just to kind of get my feet just back wet, you know, learning about the different mediums. So I was using acrylic. My favorite to work with, however, is the mixed media on wood finished in resin. That's definitely my favorite to work with. Also work with wash, and I'm learning oils, which is, I swear, that's not even art. That's a whole nother, that's sorcery. It's just a whole nother beast. With my mixed media pieces, however, that are ironically started, I had actually a coworker who I hadn't spoken to actually in years. She reached out to me and randomly suggested that I go out for a exhibit, but the criteria was you had to work on a canvas that was 10 by 10. And I'm like, who in the world works on something that small and where would I find that? What is happening? So anyway, I figured out how to, you know, I'll get a piece of wood, 10 by 10, that's easy. So I randomly came up with that concept. And before I could get the piece to the actual gallery, someone bought it.
Whoa.
Right. So I had to make another one. I took it to the gallery and someone bought it a few days later. So I had to make another one to stay in the gallery. So that's how those type of pieces started. It was me literally just continuously making these different pieces.
Okay.
And it just became a thing. And I love doing it. And it's just, a lot of them, I think I like to, because there's so many layers to them, I like to infuse a lot of subliminal messages in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the background on that is it's almost something, it's unfortunate. It's probably this person's worst experience. It's something ugly, but I infuse it with flowers. I put them in a bed of flowers. I'm uplifting them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking something bad and turning it into something good.
Yeah.
When you initially see it, you see the flowers, you see the color, and it's like, oh, that's pretty. But then when you actually look at it, it's like, oh, that's much deeper than I thought it was going to be. That's what I like to get out of, when people see my artwork.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I don't like to just make pretty pictures. I like to make something that actually has some type of statement.
Yeah, no. And you did, you were saying, I think before we got on, that one of your more well-known pieces is actually a nurse that you had painted during COVID. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yes, that one was actually painted from a selfie I took during COVID. It was marking the day that I was done. I was done with traditional nursing. I was done being collateral, what I felt was collateral damage. I was done being a warm body. I was done having to walk into these rooms and have patients say their final goodbyes on an iPad. I was done having to wear a respirator for 12 hours. I was done having to fight for a mask that could potentially save my life. Like, I was done with all of that. This isn't why I'm in nursing. I just felt like it was just like I was another number. And it just really made me see my own mortality. When I come home and my girls are like, no, you can't touch mommy. She has to shower first. She'll make you sick.
Yeah. Well, and you've pivoted, right? So tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. You're still in healthcare. Yes,
very much so. I just recently opened, was a mobile. Now it's mobile and I have a physical location, IV hydration. So I do IV hydration. Pretty much like I said, because I had to look at my own mortality. Serenbe was the start of a huge shift for me. I realized, especially as an emergency room nurse, I'm giving out Band-Aids. How can I promote wellness on the front end?
That's interesting.
As opposed to on the back end where either you're already sick or I'm not making anything better. I'm just handing you a Band-Aid. You're going to come right back.
Yeah.
Now let's promote wellness. Let's promote, staying healthy before we get sick. Let's having these discussions, because even individuals who may not even qualify for my services, I still have discussions with them on their health, how to improve your health. What can you do?
Right.
And then I'm in the process of infusing that with my other passion. So I'll be having drip and paints. So you can have your IV hydrate. Yes. IV hydration. And I used to give a lot of paint parties before COVID. So you'll be able to do, for the hour that you're sitting there infusing, you can paint with Gigi.
Oh my gosh. That's so innovative.
That's incredible.
So innovative.
Thank you.
Is anybody doing anything like that?
I have searched, and apparently I am the first person, looks like.
That's incredible.
I cannot find. Thank you. I can't find anyone else that's doing it. I guess, most people that are nurse are not necessarily an artist too. So
now, were you self-taught when your husband gave you that kit? Was that sort of the beginning, or you had taken some classes before, or
no,
was that just early days? Okay.
Completely self-taught.
Have you thought about it all doing anything? Or, I mean, your work is beautiful, but I just think I'm so impressed that that's all just you, just time in.
Thank you. Thank you. I just started, right after I moved in, soon after I moved in, I started taking oil classes with Melinda. So I'm starting to do more of the oils, but all of my acrylics, all of my resin pieces, all of my gouache pieces, those are all self-taught. The one I have in the daisy, the bumblebee and the daisy, those are all self-taught.
Amazing. Because Melinda Lively is another resident here for our listeners. And there's a space here called the Paint Space. and you can take classes. Are you doing one-on-ones with her, or is that in a class? I've heard a lot of residents that really, really enjoy her.
She is an absolutely amazing teacher, because I'm more of I never knew that till I took classes with her. I'm more of a graphic artist. Like I say, oil is a completely different, your thought process changes. How you look at trees, apples, everything completely changes. So I took about 2 months worth of classes with her. And now I just go over, I have canvases in the paint space, and I periodically go over and work on those.
Oh, I love that. Well, I'm definitely we'll put up some of your paintings and a link to your website on our show notes.
Thank you.
But tell me, so will you be doing any of the Ivy painting here, or is that going to be in your space, your current Ivy?
Both. So I'll definitely more so probably especially with the painting, more so mobile.
Yeah.
Just for space.
I love that.
I'm like I said, my physical space is a much smaller space in it's over off of Moreland in Atlanta. But yeah, definitely will be doing mobile with that one. I'm really excited about that trajectory and where that takes me.
That is great. And so tell us a little bit for those who don't know what IV hydration is, because I mean, we may just assume that people understand that. Well, will you explain what that is and what the benefits are? Yes,
definitely. So basically, I tell people, you're only as healthy as your gut is, and a lot of times our stomach, we don't absorb half the nutrients that we need to, especially with, certain foods, different vitamins, even as multivitamins that we take, especially vitamin B complex. Our gut isn't set up to absorb those type of vitamins. It's not. We only absorb about 9% of what you take orally. The best way to get it is either intravenously or in your muscle as a shot. So that basically you get what we call a 100% bioavailability, which is it goes directly to all your organs. They are water soluble vitamins, which means you're going to eventually excrete them. No different than any vitamins that you intake while you eat. But it's a lifestyle. It's a wellness lifestyle. A lot of my vitamin infusions include like magnesium, which is great for like headaches, migraines, the heart, calcium, great for, muscle contractility, B vitamins, selenium, zinc, which is great for thyroid. It's just a combination. And I'm at the point now where I'm starting to do custom drips.
Oh, I was going to ask about that, because it sounds like that there would be sort of, would you take somebody's blood and do an analysis and then create a custom, or how would you do that?
Right now, we're not doing any blood analysis just yet. A lot of clients will have, recent blood work from their doctor's office. They bring that in. We'll do analysis from that. And basically based on people's symptoms, client symptoms, are you having headaches? What's your past medical history? I do a complete screening before we do any type of injections. But yeah, I just pretty much get a complete history and just listen to the client, see what their needs are to make a regimen that suits their needs the best.
No, I love that. And did you think that all that you would ever combine? I mean, is your mother still with us? Like, would she be blown away that you've combined these two things together?
Yes, it's crazy. But it's the crazy thing. My mom is so old school. She's still even with I swear, I can't get her to the other side. She's just one of those type of people where she's just like, I can't believe you moved all the way down there. She lives in, Southwest Atlanta. Have you lost your mind? You're doing art now. You quit your job. Like, what's going on with you? And I'm just like, Mom, I have a dream.
Yeah.
I want to combine my passions. These are the things that make me happy. I became a nurse because I also want to make people healthy. I don't want to just see them in sickness and at their worst, especially as an emergency room. I've done trauma. I've been a flight nurse jumping out of helicopters. I've pretty much done it all. Yeah, I've pretty much done it all. So it's just, I want to see people, I want to be able to encounter people at their best. And not just their worst. I've always gotten the bad side. I want to encounter them. Let's talk about you staying well.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to turn this around and it's gone too far.
Right.
So
yeah, Gigi, we have a few instances where the parents have thought it was crazy, just all sorts of things. And then the real fun is when the parent decides to move here. So you never know. After your mom visits a few times, see some of the things we're going to be doing to age in place.
I love it. You know what, Steve? That is my goal now. That is definitely my goal, to get my mother to move into Serenbe.
Yeah, Gigi, I think she probably just needs a tour with Steve,
Yeah, right. I think so too.
We'll set that up.
I love it. She hasn't gotten it just yet. I'm still holding out hope that she'll eventually get it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited that your girls are going to Acton in the fall. That is going to be so cool that they'll be able to walk to school.
Yes, that's what we are so excited about. And actually was, their art teacher at Acton for this last semester, and just being able to just know the kids and just see how they interact. And I just love it. And it was just this is perfect. I just want to being immersed in that. And you actually see what happens on a day-to-day basis it was just a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
And then to be we want to be parents of learners here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one of those amazing things that we forget, that having a neighborhood school, whether, whatever kind it is, that sort of brings the whole community together and around, we've lost in so many of our schools.
Right.
Those districts have gotten so big that they've closed schools. So I think it's really exciting to have an opportunity to sort of bring the kids together, and they can all kind of not only go to school together, but sort of live down the street from each other, and the families know each other, which is really lovely.
Exactly.
I do have to go back to the jumping out of the plane, by the way.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I love that. So explain that. What in the world? I mean, how did that come about? What is that?
Okay. So I was actually, this even gets better. I was actually working on a Navajo reservation in Arizona.
Okay.
When I saw a flight nurse come in, and I remember asking her, what is your job description and how did you get to fly in that nifty aircraft? And she told me. So when I came back to Atlanta, I looked into it and I applied and I worked for Emory Flight for, I think it was 2.5, 3 years, and even started to do what they call fixed wing, which is the Lear jets that go all around the country.
Okay.
But yeah, for the helicopters, they would shut down the highway, and I would be the person that would come and take patients to hospitals, especially places that were more in the rural type areas where they didn't have a trauma center close by.
Right.
So it was amazing because you just really had to think on your feet. You're in this helicopter, you're thinking of, your safety with the helicopter, trying to keep everyone safe, and you're caring for the patient simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an amazing, amazing experience. And I would probably still be doing it. It's just I'm just a little bit, that's in my young days. So
yeah. Well, when you have kids, suddenly you're rethinking some of the choices,
Right. Exactly. All of the choices. So yeah, it was amazing, amazing experience. I got to put all of my trauma nursing, working at Grady, all my critical care skills, ER, ICU, just merged all of those and able to care for someone that needed me most.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you've been able to sort of find this sort of, still do the work that you love, of caring for people, because that's so important. But I can't even imagine what you've gone through this past year. And I'm so happy for you that you've sort of found this, a little more glorious place to live in. Not the Serenbe, and although that is glorious, but I meant sort of for you personally, kind of finding your space in wellness. I just think it was a really tough year for everybody, but I think for the nurses and doctors, I just,
right.
thank you guys so much for everything that you did for everybody. It was incredible.
Thank you. But it's crazy. Serenbe has a crazy thing. It's not about just the neighborhood. It's ironically, it's the community I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
That's great.
I never knew I needed it. I was about to go, build this huge, fabulous house with neighbors that wouldn't even probably speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a neighborhood for 12 years. I cannot pick my neighbor out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Could not. And here it's just like you're inspired daily. I walk to my car. I have neighbors that know me. I walk to the Daisy. You have that camaraderie that you don't know you need until you have it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like even when it's crazy when I go to Atlanta or leave Serenbe, it's just like, oh, it's so cold outside. I'm inspired. Yeah. Even going into the paint space, I'm inspired by the level of art, the creativity that keeps me going. That keeps me pushing. What's my next level? Mm-hmm. What's the next thing I need to do? Always. And I don't think I had that drive, but it's in turbo power right now.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been here.
And I think what we see is during COVID, a lot of people started reanalyzing their lives. And while you came at the early and it's sort of all sorts of accidents, other people have really started this year, I think, analyzing what is it that they're missing and started coming to those conclusions.
It's crazy. And it's just like you look at your own self, what you're doing, what legacy you're going to pass on to your children. Mm-hmm. How do they see you? And that's another reason I even put my young daughters in my artwork. I want them to see their faces in modern art. It's like, wait, your mom didn't paint you? Like, I want that to be their norm. I'm trying to change the way I was raised, so to speak. Not saying that it was bad or anything, but I want to give them that extra push.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can be an entrepreneur. You can do whatever you want to do. You just have to sit down. You just have to make a plan. That's it. You got to make a plan. You're going to fail. That's okay. That's a part of that. But you have to get back up and you have to pivot and you have to do something different.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot and teaching the kids to go after things with hope and an open mind and an open heart rather than fear, I think is something that is invaluable to give them.
Oh my goodness. And I think a lot of times with parents, they mean the best, but they don't realize they pass their fear to their children.
Mm-hmm. We model for them. Yeah. So it's important. I know, Steve, I think you had a last question for Gigi.
Well, I do, but there's something I want to say to touch in. I think we have to be clear. Gigi, your piece of art that's being printed, it's going to go up on the wall at the Hill. And I think it's kind of ironic that it's going to go at the steps where you first discovered Serenbe. And
oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Oh, stop, Steve. I'm about to cry.
Well, things happen in circles.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Circles. My business is Essential Wellness 360 Circles. Everything. I just told somebody that today. Circles. I literally a few minutes ago just told somebody about the circles.
Oh my God. That is wild. That. Thank you for pointing that out, Steve.
Gigi, the other thing is, I think your story of how you came back into the art is a love story. This needs to be reprinted or done for Valentine's Day, Monica. Let's get a Valentine's story on that entire thing. I think that's just beautiful. And then your husband agreeing to cook so you could paint.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. He saw something in me that I couldn't see myself. I was told you can't do that, and I just I went with it and didn't know why I was so unhappy. And now it's just like look, guys, I'm living my best life right now.
Well, that's beautiful.
Everybody to know that's my best life. I love it at the Hill. That's where exactly. I love it. I love it at the Hill.
That's going to be great.
So, Gigi, one question we always ask everyone is for those who are visiting maybe the first time or they've been here a couple times, but they really don't know Serenbe. What would you suggest that they seek out? What's the thing that might not be obvious as they're driving their cars around the streets?
Oh, definitely the labyrinth. Definitely the labyrinth. Like, it took me a minute to find that one. I think it to be amongst, like, in the middle of it, there's a certain type of spiritual presence there. That's definitely, if they can find the labyrinth, then for me, that was kind of a turning point.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. That's a great one. Yeah. Well, Gigi, is there anything else you want to share with us? I mean, this has been such a great conversation to get to know you so much better.
Thank you. No, it's just, thank you for having me. No, it's just, you have to just allow the universe to speak to you. That's in general, whether it's Serenbe, whether it's wherever you are, you have to allow and just be still sometimes. When you're doubting life choices or trying to figure out what you want to do, sometimes you just have to, another place is the plaque on the ground where it tells you just to be.
Yes.
That's something that really spoke to me. And that was ironically, that was before we officially moved in. We went for a hike on the trail before we moved in, and I saw it. I remember taking a picture of it, and I'm just like, this is just, oh my gosh, this is me. This is just, it's speaking like, oh my God, they put this here for me. Well, this is just amazing.
He did.
Just amazing.
I knew it. I knew people would find their way into those paths, and it's that moment. It's a thing we forget. We're on such a treadmill that we forget to be, and usually everything we're searching for is just right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so much intentionality, and I commend you, Steve. Oh my God, there's just so much intentionality with Serenbe. The mere fact that I can walk down the street and pick blueberries, it still boggles me. I was like, I am just eating blueberries straight off the bush. Like, where else can you do this? So I just love it. I love it.
Well, we're delighted you're here. Look forward to all the things to come and to your piece being up on that important wall of the hill.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
Thank
exciting.
you so much.
All right.
So much. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Gigi.
Thank you for having me.
I know.
Thank you for listening to Serenbe Stories. New episodes are available on Mondays. Please follow us and leave us a 5-star review. And visit our website to learn more about guests, episodes, and everything Serenbe at serenbestories.com. This episode is supported by the Inn at Serenbe, nestled in the rolling countryside of the bucolic community of Serenbe, where guests can walk on the 15 miles of private trails through preserved forest land, the wildflower meadow, and the animal village. Relax at the pool, hot tub, or in rocking chairs on a wraparound porch. Play on the croquet lawn, grab a canoe, and jump on the in-ground trampoline. Connect with nature and each other, all while staying in a luxurious space at the Inn at Serenbe. Book your stay today at serenbeinn.com. SERENBEINN.com.